Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of our Wednesday night class. Bezat Hashem, today we'll be discussing the Amidah of Shabbat of Shacharit. Baruch Hashem, we successfully concluded the past 3-4 weeks the Amidah of the Arvit portion. We've received a lot of great feedback. A lot of people were watching it. They were very happy, and what can we say? It's in your zechut. And of course, we thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for it as well. I do want to mention that for the newer viewers that are going to be watching this, either on YouTube or via the Zoom link that we'll be sending out after. For those who are just joining us, we do have previous classes on the Amidah for the weekday. We discussed all the 19 blessings, gave insights and many more in-depth analysis to the Amidah of Shabbat of the weekday. If you want to get in touch with us, you can contact us at 718-316-0373. 718-316-0373. Just ask us why you're messaging us. Ask us if you would like to participate in our weekly classes and for us to send you the Amidah of the weekday. The Amidah of the weekday is not on YouTube. It probably will not be on YouTube unless we redo the classes for a third time. So if you would like to bring us to your communities, you would like to request that we redo the Shabbat of the weekday classes, we do have more material that we can expose, material that hasn't been out yet, that we haven't recorded, haven't given out. So if you would like to redo the Shabbat Amidah of the weekday, you can contact us and we can work it out, Bezrat Hashem. So, Rabbi Yitzchak, we are here for the Amidah of Shabbat, Shacharit, the fourth blessing, the fourth paragraph. Now, I do want to mention, we've got in contact with a great rabbi, a very well-known rabbi, a renowned speaker and author, Rabbi Yitzchak Aminov. Rabbi Yitzchak Aminov, one second. Rabbi Yitzchak Aminov is a renowned speaker, renowned author. We got in contact with him, and we asked him to make a shiur on the Amidah of Shabbat. And many of our participants are asking why. Well, I'm a very big fan of Rabbi Gladstein, and been listening to him throughout the years, and I like his style, and I wanted to see what kind of material he has on the Amidah of Shabbat, because this is the first time, that's really, we're putting this material out there. I haven't seen anyone really make shiurim on the Amidah of Shabbat. So I wanted to see, his mareh mekumot, his what he has to offer. And Baruch Hashem, he made the class last week, and it was brilliant. It was amazing. What he did was he made one class. He kind of put it all together. So for those who would like to listen to it, you can message us, and we will be sending out the link. The class is up on Torah Anytime, so you guys can find it on your own if you would like. And it's a very inspirational class. A lot of it we talked about, he brings out, but he also brings many new points, and we'll be talking about these new points that he brought out in this class as well. So it's in his zechut. And of course, the material that we use here, different sfarim, different sidurim that we take our material from. Okay, Rabbi Yitzchak, we will begin, Bezrat Hashem, we will begin the Amidah of Shabbat, of Shacharit, with the fourth paragraph of Yismach Moshe B'matnat Helko. This is a very, very powerful paragraph. Very powerful. I advise everyone, all the viewers that are listening to us, to have your own sidur, to have your own pencils, highlighters. That way you're able to write down, and you can get a better understanding from there. Okay, let us begin. The rabbi begins over here he says that the three Shabbatot, the three different Amidahs of Shabbat, Arid, Shacharit, Mincha, are corresponding to the three different Shabbats of the world. What does that mean? The first Shabbat of the world was Shabbat Bereshit. That's when Hashem created the world for 6 days, and He ceased from creating on the seventh day. So that was the first Shabbat of the world. That's called Shabbat Bereshit. Right on time, boys. Right on time. That's called Shabbat Bereshit. That Shabbat is corresponding to Shabbat of the Amidah of Arvit. Then you have Shabbat of Matan Torah, which was the second greatest Shabbat. That's when we received the Torah. When do we receive the Torah? On Shabbat. Shabbat morning. And that's corresponding to the Shabbat Amidah of Shacharit, which is Shabbat Matan Torah. Then the Mincha time, it's going to be Shabbat of Mashiach Latid Lavo. That is why, if you notice in the prayer of Mincha of Shabbat, you don't have to turn to it, just really quickly. What does it say? Avraham Yagel, Yitzchak Yeranen, Yaakov Vanav Yenuchu Vo. It's all future tense. It's what will be. Avraham Yagel, Yitzchak Yeranen, Yaakov Vanav Yenuchu Vo, Menuchat Ahava Undava. It's what will be in the future. Why? Why is the language of the Mincha of Shabbat in the future? Because the third Shabbat, which is the Shabbat of Mashiach, is connected to Mincha. So what are we going to be talking about today, Rabbi Yisai? The Shabbat Amidah of Shacharit, of the fourth paragraph of Yismach Moshe b'matnat Helko. So the Rabbi says like this. In the conjunction, Rabbi Eliezer of Worms points out that the Minucha portion of Shabbat Amidah, which is starting with Yismach Moshe, if you count, starting from Yismach Moshe until the blessing of Baruch Atah Hashem Mekadesh HaShabbat, the Rabbi says over here, it contains 105 words. Once again, starting from Yismach Moshe until Baruch Atah Hashem Mekadesh HaShabbat of Shacharit, it contains 105 words. What does the 105 signify? Why is the 105 words important to us? The Rabbi says, Rabbi Eliezer of Worms says, the 105 words represents the 105 words in Parashat Kitisa, which was read coincidentally last week. It's not for no reason, it coincides with our class this week. And you saw that this happens many times in our weekday Amidah classes, that the bracha we spoke about corresponding to the parasha of the week.
Gemara says that means you're learning the right thing.
What? The Gemara says when this happens, it means Hashem is happy with your learning. Yes, that is true. So what does he say here? So Hashem is very happy with all of you coming to learn the Amidah of Shabbat, lengthening your Shabbat prayer. Someone came up to me today. I had a meeting today with one of our congregants. He said, "I'm doing the Amidah of the week 15 minutes long, 16 minutes long." He said the shul, the chazara, the chazan he does the repetition. He's up to already, hayom yom. I'm still in the Amidah of Shabbat, Amidah of the week. I'm still doing my private Amidah. That's very amazing to hear. And now he's telling me that his Amidah of Shabbat is also Baruch Hashem lengthening. So Baruch Hashem, Hashem is very happy with all of you. So he says here, 105 words from Yismach Moshe until Baruch Atah Hashem Mekadesh HaShabbat correspond to the 105 words in Parashat Kitisa from the word Ech et Shabbatotai Tishmeru, when the Parsha talks about the importance of keeping Shabbat. From that paragraph until the word V'yiten el Moshe, he gave to Moshe the 2 tablets. He also has 105 words. Now, what is the connection between Moshe Rabbeinu giving us the luchot, giving us the tablets in last week's parsha, connected to Shabbat observance? What is the connection? So he says something very interesting here. This paragraph, the Shabbat Amidah of Shacharit, is represented by Moshe Rabbeinu. He's the one in charge of this. He's the one that has the strength here. He's the one that has the strength in the Amidah of Shabbat, of Shacharit, is Moshe Rabbeinu. It was in his zechut. So what did he do? Why is he receiving such zechut? So many commentaries come and they say that the reason why Moshe Rabbeinu has the zechut here so the Rizal says like this. What do the words literally mean? Yismach Moshe bebatnat helko. So Rizal says something very interesting. The words mean Moshe should rejoice in the world of souls where he is presently. That's one translation, right? Another translation is Yismach Moshe bebatnat helko. Moshe rejoices in the gift of his portion. What's the gift of his portion? What portion did he get? So the Rizal says, according to the commentaries who explain on the level of Pshat, the simple meaning, this refers to the fact that even before Hashem issued the command of Shabbat, Moshe Rabbeinu had instituted the 7th day as a day of rest for Bnei Israel during the period of Egyptian bondage. When Moshe Rabbeinu was a very little kid, was much younger, the Midrash says, he came to Pharaoh when Pharaoh enslaved us. He made us work hard, 7 days a week. Moshe comes up to Pharaoh and he says, Hashem, I want to tell you the truth. To have a worker work for you 7 days a week is very hard for him. He's not going to do a good job. He's going to be too tired. You want a worker to do a good job for you, what do you need to do? Give him a day off. Give him a rest to regroup. Imagine you used your phone 24/7. What's going to happen? Eventually it'll die. Then you can't use it anymore. Same thing with a person. If you use yourself up 24/7, you eventually break down. And then what do you expect from the workers? They have no energy. So Moshe gave an idea to Pharaoh. Pharaoh, why don't you give Jews off 1 day a week? Pharaoh said, yeah, that's a good idea, Moshe. It's a good idea. Well, you pick a day. And Moshe picked, coincidentally. Now, commentaries attack this little idea. When Moshe picked Shabbat, Moshe said, oh, you should 6 days. 6 days is a good day to give them off Shabbat. Did he know what he was doing? Did he know about Shabbat? Because really Shabbat was given to us, right? When Hashem revealed himself to us. That's when Shabbat officially was given to us. There's no such a concept of Shabbat. Yes, our forefathers kept Shabbat. We know a lot of Torah, we talk about Yaakov Avinu kept Shabbat. But the Shabbat itself was not a commandment to us yet. Why did our forefathers keep Shabbat? Because they spoke to Hashem, they knew the secrets of the Torah, they kept Shabbat even though they weren't obligated to keep it yet, right? Because it wasn't a commandment yet. When Moshe told Pharaoh, keep Shabbat, tell them to give them off on Shabbat, did he know what he was doing? Did he know about Shabbat? Of course. Moshe knew these hidden secrets of the Torah. He was very smart, he was the chosen man. Of course he knew. So because he did that, because Moshe gave Pharaoh this idea to give the Jewish people off on Shabbat, Hashem blessed Moshe. Hashem rewarded Moshe. With what? Yismach Moshe b'vanat helko. Hashem put His name in the Amidah of Shabbat. If you look at the Amidah of Shabbat, Arvit, Shacharit, Mincha, yeah, you have Rabbi Yitzchak Yaakov in the Mincha, but it's not really praising them. It's just saying what will be in the future. But Hashem gives significance to Moshe Rabbeinu. Why? Because Moshe respected Shabbat. He gave honor to Shabbat. So what is the translation? Yismach Moshe. Right? And Moshe rejoiced. Bibmatnat Hilko. In the gift of his portion. The gift of Shabbat and his portion. Why his portion? He has the portion of Shabbat. Why? Because he instituted it. He gave this idea. So look what he says here. Moshe rejoiced that God considered him a faithful servant. In reward for Moshe's dedication, God chose him to receive the tablets of the Ten Commandments, which included the mitzvah of Shabbat. Because of this, Hashem said, Moshe, you're going to give the Ten Commandments. You're going to give the Ten Commandments. You're going to give the commandments, and one of the commandments is what? Keep Shabbat. And we spoke. We gave a class last week to our congregants in our Shabbat morning class. And what did we say? We brought a beautiful Tikkunei HaZohar. The Tikkunei HaZohar says something unbelievable. So I'm going to read to you from the Parasha Ki Tisa. Vayidaber Hashem el Moshe lemor. Ki tisa et rosh bnei Israel. Stop. What is he talking about here? The Parasha of Ki Tisa. This is an introduction to our class tonight. The Parasha of Ki Tisa, it has three main themes. Half a shekel, right? That's the first thing. Ki tisa et rosh bnei Israel. Count the heads of bnei Israel. They should give half a shekel. The second theme of last week's parasha of Ki Tisa is what? Is Egel HaZahav. Yeah, the Jewish people, they made the golden calf. There are four themes. The third theme is what? Moshe bringing down the tablets. And the fourth theme is what? Shabbat. It talks about keeping Shabbat. And by the way, if you have a family member that's not observant, and you want him to be observant, tell him to read this parsha. Read Parasha Ki Tisa. Give him some stipend, give him some money, just for him to really do it. Give him $50, $100. Yeah, I can give him some money. Read this parsha. Why do I tell you to tell him to read this parsha? Because the language it uses about a person who doesn't keep Shabbat, it will inspire him to keep Shabbat. This one, last week's parsha. Yeah, just read it again. Read it again. Yeah. Question.
You can repeat it to them. Why in the Ten Commandments is Shabbat, it says keep Shabbat, and then after is do not kill? Does that show us that Shabbat is more
important?
So it's like to keep Shabbat, and then after 2 commandments later is do not kill.
Yeah.
So isn't it they say if you don't keep Shabbat, it's like
what's your question?
Yeah.
100%.
Not keeping Shabbat is worse than
Yeah.
killing a person.
Yeah. I'll tell you why. Not keeping Shabbat is a spiritual thing. Killing a person is a physical thing. The damage we do when we don't keep Shabbat in the spiritual world is enormous. It's enormous. And now you'll see throughout the whole class, we're going to give really good points about Shabbat. And I highly advise to send this class out and to take these points and bring it home. Tell it to your family, tell it to your friends, tell it to your parents. It will strengthen their Shabbat. It will strengthen their Shabbat, guaranteed. And it will strengthen your Shabbat, guaranteed. You will see today wow, this is Shabbat. This is unbelievable.
Wait, can I have to write this down? Get a paper?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm just gonna go through this. Yeah, take the pen. It says like this. So these four themes in this last week's parsha: Shabbat, half a shekel, the egel, the golden calf, and the luchot. What's the connection between them all? They all have one connection. Why is all these four themes in one parsha? Why? Why can't they be split up? What's significant about these four? Very simple. We gave a whole 2-hour class last week in Shabbat. We'll say it in a nutshell. The Jewish people, they created the egel, the golden calf. Hashem got angry at them. He wanted to kill them all. Moshe Rabbeinu came and rescued us. He held on to Hashem's cloak, as the Midrash says, and he fought for us. And then Hashem finally said, Salachti kidvarecha, I forgive them. Moshe found out the secret, the 13 attributes of mercy by Avor. Hashem al panav veikra, Hashem, El Rahum Hanun, right? The Gemara says anytime that the Jewish nation wants Hashem to be merciful on them is to say this verse. Now we say it every day in Shacharit, and we do it, right? Vayavor, it's a beautiful prayer. That Vayavor you should take very seriously. That moment Hashem has the ability to forgive you for everything. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu said to Hashem, from Hashem to say, I forgive the Jewish nation. That prayer over there is a big prayer. It's a very big prayer. And you're not allowed to say it alone, actually. When you're praying alone at home, you cannot say Vayavor unless you know the cantillations, unless you know the singing notes that are in the Torah, and you have to sing it the way the Torah is read. You're only allowed to say it when you have 10 men. That's all the halachic details for a different time. So, after Hashem forgave them, Hashem said to Moshe, look, I forgive them, but they still need to do a tikkun. They need a rectification. Okay, what's the rectification? Hashem said, they have to bring me half a shekel. Half a shekel. They bring me half a shekel, I'll forget about the egel. What's the connection between half a shekel and the egel? And why, right before Moshe Rabbeinu goes up to get the luchot, what is the last message he tells Bnei Israel? Who read the parasha last week? The last message before Moshe Rabbeinu goes up.
Shabbat.
The last message Moshe Rabbeinu tells the Jewish nation is about Shabbat. These guys keep Shabbat. This is about Shabbat. He gives them a strong musar talk about Shabbat. Then he goes up. He receives the luchot for how many days? 40 days, 40 nights, yes? Now, before he went down, what is the last commandment that Hashem teach Moshe? You know what the last commandment was? Shabbat. The last thing, Moshe Rabbeinu, the last thing Hashem taught Moshe before he went down to give the luchot to us, or before he dropped the luchot, was Shabbat. He taught him the laws of Shabbat. Now the Tikkunei HaZohar says something unbelievable. You ready for this?
You only talked about Bishamru. It doesn't say.
Zachor. It says Vishamru.
Yeah, you say right.
Right. That's a big question. We're going to talk about
But
that.
you said that this parsha, if someone reads it, someone's going to get inspired. How's
Yes,
that
because it
part?
says Mot Yumat.
Where?
The only time does it say that there's a death penalty for a person who doesn't keep Shabbat is in this week's parsha.
Oh yeah. That's right.
So he says like this. The Torah says like this. The Tikkunei HaZohar says unbelievable. When Moshe Rabbeinu was coming down with the luchot, with the tablets, and he dropped them. First of all, how is he dropping the Torah? Would you ever drop the Torah? Never. How can you drop the thing? How can you drop the Torah? How can you drop luchot? They have holy letters on it. They have all the commandments on it. How can you drop such a thing? So the Midrash says that Moshe Rabbeinu saw all the letters fly in the air. He felt the luchot heavy. And then only then did he drop it. To come to show you what? That the luchot are nothing without the letters and the letters inside. Without the letters, the luchot are nothing. So too, without Torah, a Jew is nothing. Right? The body of a person is the luchot. The Torah he learns are the letters. If a person does not have the letters, the Torah that he learns, he's worth nothing. So comes the Tikkunei HaZohar and he says, the only commandment that was left when Moshe Rabbeinu dropped the luchot was the commandment of Shabbat. So when Moshe Rabbeinu dropped the luchot, the commandment of the Shabbat stayed. That means he dropped the luchot with the Shabbat commandment there. Comes the Tikkunei HaZohar and he says, why? It was because the only rectification that they were able to do of the Heta Egel, you know, the Gemara says, every time a person suffers, till today, it's because of a piece of Heta Egel, the golden calf. Hashem gets reminded of the golden calf, and he brings suffering to a Jew. Even till today. You can go 30 days, nothing wrong. You pray Shacharit, Minhari, you're learning Torah, you're keeping kashrut, you're saying bracha with kavanah, you're wearing tzitzit, you're doing everything good. You're a good boy or good girl for 30 days. And then out of nowhere, your car gets swiped. You get a big ticket. You're thinking to yourself, what did I do wrong, God? I'm doing good all week. What's going on? Why? The Gemara says, because of the golden calf. That sin can never really be erased. It's still in Hashem's mind a little bit. 5%, 2%. So all our suffering that we have till today
It's not fair. We
could be.
personally didn't, like, you know, Rabbi.
Yes, we were. Our souls were there.
Who knows? Could Google.
Our souls were there. For sure. We participated in it. We didn't initiate this, the Erev Rav did, but we participated. We didn't stop it. We gave our jewelry.
What about the Jewish people that weren't involved? There's only 3,000 people involved.
The Levi'im were not involved. But all for one, one for all.
All of them got punished?
That's how it is. Everybody get punished. Everyone wasn't, even if you're not, it's like a teacher in a class. One boy did something wrong, the whole class gets punished. Why? One for all for one. All for one for all. So what happened? The Tikkun Azor says that the rectification for the Egel is the commandment of Shabbat. When you keep Shabbat, you should know, you know what you're doing? You're cleaning out the sin of the Egel. That's 5% that Hashem is angry at a person because of the Egel. Till today, you can clean it out with the properly keeping Shabbat, learning all its laws, doing the right thing. Now, what does half a shekel have to do with all this? Why is half a shekel in this parsha? It's very weird. Luchot, Egel, Shabbat, fine. Why you put half a shekel? Because what does Hashem say to Moshe? You want a tikkun? You want a tikkun for the Egel? Tell the Jewish nation to bring me half a shekel. What does half a shekel have to do with the Egel? So listen to this. Vayidaber Hashem el Moshe lemor. וידבר השם למשה לאמור, כי תישא את ראש בני ישראל. Count all the heads of the Jewish nation, right? By how? By making them bring you half a shekel. Now, Rosh bnei Israel, each Jew, each person, right, male, older than 20, should bring me half a shekel. Now, the word Rosh, when you count, do you count up or you count down? You count up, right? When you count each person, 1, 2, 3, 4, you're counting high. So the rabbis say, take the word Rosh and count up. Because that's what Moshe Rabbeinu was doing. He was counting each Jew and he was counting up. So take the word Rosh and count up. So what's the word Rosh, Manuel? Counting up. What is Resh? What's higher than Resh? Letter not above Resh, meaning next after Resh. Shin, good. After Aleph, Bet. After Shin, Taf. What word does that spell? Shabbat. Why you give half a shekel? Why is half a shekel in this parsha? What does half a shekel have to do with the Egel? Hashem says, you want me to forget about the Egel? Tell the Jewish people to bring me half a shekel. With this half a shekel, you're going to build a Mishkan. You're going to give sacrifice in the Mishkan. I will forget about the Egel. What does half a shekel do with anything? So it's in the word, Ki tisa et Rosh b'nei Yisrael. Count up. Rosh, count up. Moshe, count every Jew with half a shekel. So take the word Rosh and count higher. Shin, Bet, Taf. Resh, Aleph, Shin. Resh is Shin. After Resh is Shin. After Aleph is Bet. After Shin is Taf. Shabbat. When you keep Shabbat, you rectify, you cleanse out the Egel Zahav. By keeping Shabbat, it's a rectification for what? For the Heta Egel. And that's why when Moshe Rabbeinu was coming down with the Luchot, the Tikkunei HaZohar says what? When he broke the tablets, one commandment stayed. Which commandment? The commandment of Shabbat.
It changed the commandment if it was different.
Different form, right? But the commandment of Shabbat stayed to show us what? To rectify. So Egel is keeping Shabbat. Now let's get back to our Amidah. And what we're about to say, every week when we say Yismach Moshe b'matnat Helko, you don't know what's happening in the spiritual world. Something unbelievable is happening. Something unbelievable is happening. So listen to this.
Let me say this line.
Yeah, when we say this line, listen to this. Why is Moshe singled out in connection with the Shabbat and only in the morning Amidah. Why didn't the Anshe Knesset Gedolah, the people who wrote the Amidah, put Moshe in the Arvit of Shabbat? Why didn't they put Moshe in the Minha of Shabbat? Why specifically in the Shacharit of Shabbat? Good question, no?
Because they didn't learn Torah at that time.
He did learn Torah, but what did he learn on that time?
Torah, Shabbat.
Shabbat. What did he learn in the morning? That's one answer. Very good. Another answer is what? Listen to what he says here. The 10 Commandments were given to Moshe on the morning of Shabbat. That's why Moshe his name is in the morning of Shabbat. Also, what do we say? There are 3 special Shabbats. Shabbat Bereshit, which is connected to
Adam Rishon.
Adam Rishon, the first Shabbat that Hashem created the world, which is connected to what? The Arvit of Shabbat. And then the Shabbat Matan Torah, which is connected to the
Moshe.
morning of Shabbat. So, Matan Torah, who gave it to us? Moshe. When is it connected to the morning of Shabbat? Morning Shabbat, Moshe Rabbeinu should be included in the morning of Shabbat. Now, let's go on. As a child in Pharaoh's palace, Moshe asked the king to proclaim the Shabbat as a day of rest for the enslaved Jew. God told Moshe in Marah, before Israel came to Mount Sinai, I have a precious gift called Shabbat. Teach the Jews about it. The Ben Ish Chai also shows much similarity about this as well. Okay, let's go further. So the Arizal says something very, 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 very beautiful, and I advise everyone to listen very carefully. So once again, I'm going to repeat to you the Arizal. According to the commentaries who explain on the level of Pshat, this is referring to the fact that even before Hashem issued the command of Shabbat, Moshe Rabbeinu had instituted the 7th day as a day of rest for Am Yisrael during the period of Egyptian bondage. When Hashem gave Bnei Israel the mitzvah of Shabbat at Mount Sinai, Moshe Rabbeinu got very happy. When Hashem made it an obligation to give Shabbat at Mount Sinai, Moshe got very happy. Why? Because this was his helek, this was his portion, the day he had designated. He says, wow, this is the day I designated for them to rest. Of course, he had chosen the day based on his understanding of Torah. But once Shabbat observance was formally commanded at Mount Sinai, Moshe rejoiced that his portion had been chosen as a day given to Am Yisrael forever. So that's why it says, Yismach Moshe bematnat helko. He rejoiced from his portion. He was happy when Hashem gave it to Am Yisrael as a commandment because he knew that he was the one that first instituted it in Egypt. The Arizal, however, explains this passage as referring to a special crown that Bnei Israel received at the time of Matan Torah. Am Yisrael, the Jewish nation, we received a special crown, amen. Very special crown. What was this crown? We received 2 crowns. How much light emanated from these 2 crowns? So the Arizal says 1,000 lights. 1,000 special lights emanated from this crown that the Jewish people received when they, at Mount Sinai, when they said, Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do and we will listen. Then, they lost these crowns. They lost this light. Why? Because they made the Hatta Egel, the golden calf. As soon as the Jewish people made the golden calf, they lost all their crowns because of this great sin. So what happened to the crowns? You know what happened to it? You know who it was given to? To Moshe Rabbeinu. So everyone had 2 crowns. Moshe had 2, Aaron had 2, all the Jewish people had 2. When the Jewish people made the golden calf, they lost those crowns. They lost the spiritual light. And who received it all? Who got it all after? Moshe. He received all the 1,000 lights. He received all the crowns from all of us. He got. So remember when Moshe was coming down Mount Sinai, he had to cover his face with a veil. Why? People couldn't look at him. It was too bright. It was too holy. Why? Because of this light that he received. Of all those crowns that he received from the Jewish nation, that they got taken away from, he received this light. They were like, wow, so much spirituality, so much spiritual light, so much goodness. We can't look at you. Why? They were not on the same level. He was too holy for them. So you had to wear a veil for this light not to attract to them all. So listen to this, Rabbi said. Listen to this very important kavanah over here. Moshe Rabbeinu was the recipient of all the crowns of Bnei Israel. This is why, as the Torah relates, Moshe Rabbeinu's face shone when he descended from Mount Sinai, as he had received everything the people had fortified after the sin. But, Rabotai, on Shabbat, Moshe Rabbeinu returns these crowns to us. On Shabbat, listen to this big kavanah. This is the main kavanah of today. On Shabbat, when you say the words, Yismach Moshe bimatnat helko, when you say those words, right away, have in mind, have kavanah, Hashem, give me back those crowns. Give me back those crowns. You need those crowns? We don't have these crowns. We lose these crowns. We lose these crowns. Well, when do we get it back? On Shabbat. When? When we say the words Yismach Moshe v'manat helko. Who gives it back to us? Moshe Rabbeinu. Could he be selfish? Yeah. He has every right to. Hashem didn't command him to give it back to us. He himself initiated. No, I want to give it back to them. I want to give it back to them. Here, take those 2 crowns. To you, to me, to him, to her. Everyone gets those crowns back. And then you don't understand the spiritual charge you receive at that moment when you pray the Amidah of Shabbat of Shacharit. Great spiritual charge. You feel your soul getting extra boost. Listen to this. Let's go on. For this reason that Moshe Rabbeinu returns these crowns to us, it is said that on Shabbat we rise to the level of Kedusha, similar to which we experience at Mount Sinai, as we are again given the crowns we received at that time. Your soul, Emmanuel, your soul, the level of holiness it experienced at Mount Sinai, you receive it again when? On Shabbat, when you say the word Yismach Moshe v'manat helko. Unbelievable, Rabotai. Unbelievable. And can I tell you what the rabbis say? The rabbis say that a person who, the rabbis tell us that when we were on Mount Sinai receiving the Torah, our neshama was in the level of Adam HaRishon before the sin. Could you imagine? Of Adam HaRishon, thank you so much. You really don't have to do that. Thank you so much. God bless you. Of Adam HaRishon before the sin. That's what you hear. Yeah, that's how holy our neshama was. You know what the Arizal says? On Shabbat, when you say the word Yismach Moshe v'manat helko, Moshe Rabbeinu gives back the 2 crowns to you, and your soul experiences revelation like it received from Mount Sinai. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The power that Shabbat has, the power of Shabbat Amidah, the power of Shabbat Shacharit of Amidah. Unbelievable. Let's go on. This is why. This is also why a person's face looks different on Shabbat. Yes. That's what it means. You all look different on Shabbat. You don't notice it? No? Well, listen to this now. Listen to this, Rabbi say. Listen to this beautiful chidush. Unbelievable chidush. You guys are going to like this.
Boy, I love your chidush.
Listen to this great one. According to halakha, there's a concept called Gemara and Ketubot. Gemara and Ketushin talks about it lengthily. Shulchan Aruch. There's something called Panim Hadashot. What does Panim Hadashot mean? New faces. What is this concept? When you get married, Bezat Hashem, all of us, all of you, I got married already, right? One time is enough. All of you, Bezat Hashem, this year, or at the right time for those who are younger. And he says like this. By the way, this class should be in the Refuah Shlema to Michael, Miriam, Vegam, Liza Bat, Zilpa.
And
Both.
Rav Shmuel, Ashur.
Rav Shmuel,
Zalman
Zalman ben Hana, וגם David ben Galit.
He came home
These-
in the way.
These people are very sick and they need the Rav Shmuel. This class should be in the Zuhut for them to get full recovery, and they should all come back. Chazer b'tshuva. So, Panim Chadashot, new faces. What is this concept about? When you get married, you have Sheva Barchot. In order for you to do Sheva Barchot 7 days, you need 2 new faces that were not at the wedding. So let's say you get married on Sunday, yeah? Sunday you do Sheva Barchot at the chuppah, and then Sheva Barchot after the wedding party is over.
It counts as 2 or 1?
You can do Sheva Barchot 5 times in one day. It counts as 1. Well, it depends if you get married before Shkia. If you get married before Shkia, that's 1, and the second one is for the next day. But again, you can have Sheva Barchot as much as you can have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The more, the better.
Hmm?
Yeah. Well, usually what's done customarily is 1 time.
Going
To get 7 people, to get new faces for all those meals is very difficult. So listen to this.
Not going to come and
I don't know. I didn't see that yet, but maybe. So you get married Sunday, right? Comes Monday, you do Sheva Barchot. According to Halacha, Chacham Ovadia Yosef says the best way, according to Sephardi Minhagim, the best way to do Sheva Barchot is in the Hatan's house all 7 days.
Wow.
Now, not everyone does that. You have what to rely on if you don't do it, but in order to make the Sheva Barchot, you need to be in the Hatan's house all 7 days. His house. His house, he's living with his Rebbetzin.
Better than my mom.
So what happened? Monday you have Sheva Barchot, yeah? Now you got your family together. You're in a restaurant or you're in your house. Now you need to make the Sheva Barchot. You cannot make Sheva Barchot unless you have 2 new faces. What does that mean? 2 people that were not at the wedding have to be present at the Sheva Barchot in order for you to do Sheva Barchot. Why? Because you need to have a new excitement. When you see 2 new faces that are close to you, it excites you. Wow, I didn't see you at the wedding. You couldn't wake. How are you? I am Mazal Tov. Why? When a new person gives you Mazal Tov, it's a new excitement. As opposed to all the people that were at the wedding, they were already there. So okay, I saw you already. Very nice. 2 new faces that weren't there, it gives more of excitement to the Hatan and Kala. That's the halacha.
What if he was at my wedding? I didn't enjoy it with him.
Doesn't matter. He was there. Doesn't matter. He was there. We make a bracha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol niyeh b'dvaro. So that's the law. You need 2 new faces for all the 7 days. Tosfot says in Gemara Ketubot, Daf Het Amud Bet. He says in Daf Het Amud Aleph. He says something unbelievable. Listen to this. On Shabbat, however, what do we say before the line before that? That on Shabbat, your face changes. What does that mean? You all were shocked. What does that mean? Your face changes. Listen to this. Normally, the Sheva Brachot. No. This is why, according to Halacha, the 7 special blessings of Sheva Brachot may be recited on Shabbat, even if no new guests are in attendance. The only exclusion to the law is Shabbat. During the week, you need to have 2 new faces. On Shabbat, Sheva Brachot, you don't need to have 2 new faces, Tosfot says. Why not? Normally, the Sheva Brachot may be recited only in the presence of Panim Hadashot, 2 new faces, someone who had not yet celebrated with the bride and groom, and whose participation enhances their joy. On Shabbat, however, this is not necessary. Why? Because what? No. Because Shabbat itself is considered Panim Hadashot.
Do we pass like this?
Oh.
Why are you saying on Shabbat Brachot, you're saying?
Yeah.
You don't have to do guess.
Why? Listen to this. On one level, this means simply that Shabbat is a special day and can thus fill the role of a new person. On a deeper level, Rav Tzadok HaKohen explained that on Shabbat, we all have Panim hadashot. We all have a new face. And thus the Sheva Brachot may be recited even if a new guest does not participate in the celebration. Unbelievable. All of you, Rabotai, men and women here, that are watching us on Zoom, that are going to watch us on YouTube later.
And other platforms.
And other platforms. All of you on Shabbat have new faces. Now let's explain this more. Listen to this. Many Gidolim, many big rabbis felt this new face concept. Rabbi Eliyahu Lapian relates that the altar of Kelim had a pale look all week. You know, big rabbis, they did tikkunim, they did fast, they didn't eat so much. They looked pale during the week. Yet on Shabbat, he got his color back. He got his weight back. He got the fresh look on his face. Rav Wolbe relates that when he came to the Mir Yeshiva, it was on a weekday, and he saw Rabbi Yeruchim Levavitz, the Mashgiach, during the weekday. For a while, he thought that there was a different Mashgiach on Shabbat. When he went to the yeshiva on Shabbat, he's like, whoa, we have a new Mashgiach? He didn't recognize him. He didn't recognize Rabbi Yeruchim Levavitz, the Mashgiach. He was the same Mashgiach. They didn't change Mashgiachs. What happened? On Shabbat, you look different.
What's it called?
Panim hadashot.
Why?
Due to the spark change in his appearance between weekday and Shabbat, he couldn't.
Because of the crown, that's why.
Oh, listen to this now, Rabbi. We're going to bring this all home now. Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky was once met one of his doctors on Shabbat, and he did not recognize him. The doctor remarked, "You don't recognize me?" Rav Yaakov responded, "I don't take offense. Don't take offense that I didn't recognize you. You have a different look on Shabbat." The doctor you saw during the week, when you saw him on Shabbat, Rav Kamenetsky said, "I didn't recognize him." Why? Because you have a different look on Shabbat. Now, the holier you are, the more you work on yourself, the more this is noticed about you. Accordingly to the Arizal explained the phrase Yismach Moshe b'matnat helko to mean that Moshe rejoices when he relinquishes his portion. Now let's go to the words. Yeah? Let's go to the Sidur. Yismach Moshe b'matnat helko. What's the kavanah? Hashem, please give me back those 2 crowns that were taken away from me because of the egel. Give it back to me. But who really gives it back to us? Moshe. Moshe has all the crowns during the week. On Shabbat, he gives it back. Yismach Moshe b'matnat helko. Moshe is happy giving back those crowns. You would think, imagine Moshe Rabbeinu all week has all the 1,000 lights that he receives from us. On Shabbat, he has to give it back. That means what? His light is diminished, right? He doesn't have that light anymore because he gives it to us. Is he happy about it or is he upset about it? Yismach Moshe b'matnat helko. He's happy about this portion. He's happy about giving it back to us. Let's go on. He rejoices when he relinquishes this portion, the crowns of Bnei Israel, that he returns to us on Shabbat. The reason he rejoices is, as we continue, why does he rejoice? Let's go on. Ki eved ne'eman karata lo. Translation. Because of the great present of the Torah that was given through him. Arizal's translation. Because you called him a faithful servant. Moshe is not a self-centered person. He's not only thinking about himself, which, by the way, we have to learn from. We cannot always only think about us. That's why the Amidah of Shabbat, Rav Nachman of Breslov says, if you notice the Amidah of Shabbat, we spoke about it in the past. You don't ask for things. It's a time not to be self-centered. It's a time not to give me. It's a time to think of others. One member that comes to our Amidah classes told me, "Rabbi, you know what I do on Shabbat? I pray for others." That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing, to pray for others on Shabbat.
You can ask for others?
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It's a time not to be self-centered. It's a time to give to others, like Moshe is giving. We learned that from him. He's giving light from himself to others. You have an opportunity to ask for yourself, but what do? You take this opportunity, you give to others. You shine light to someone else. You ask Hashem to give this person light. And you should be busy with on Shabbat thanking Hashem, like we spoke about previously. So what does it say here? The Rabbi Yitzchak says here, Moshe is not self-centered. He is faithful to his mission. And is thus, he's concerned about Bnei Israel. He's concerned about us. He does not laminate the loss of the crowns. He is not sad about losing the crowns on Shabbat, but rather rejoices and celebrates because he's interested in our well-being and wishes for our success. We learn from here, don't be self-centered. Don't focus Shabbat on yourself. Give to others, meaning pray for others, and thank Hashem for what you have. So again, Yismach Moshe b'matan helko. He's happy with this portion. He's happy about giving to others. Why? Ki eved ne'aman karata lo. Because he is faithful servant of Hashem. The reason says, let's go on. Then the prayer continues. Kelil tiferet berosho natata lo ba'amdo lefanecha al har Sinai. Translation. You have given a crown of glory on his head, the shine on his face, when he stood before you on Mount Sinai to receive the second law. What does the word berosho mean? On or in? The bet in front of a word is what? In. Is my hat on me or is my hat in me? On me. Is your kippah in you or is your kippah on you? For all the women watchers, is your wig or mitpahat on you or is it in you? It's on you. Your kippah is on you. Your hat is on you. So what does it mean? Listen very carefully. Kilil tiferet berosho natato. Berosho, in his head. The crown, what? The crown is in his head or is the crown on his head?
Spiritual thing.
Good. This crown that we talk about is not honor. It was not on his head. This crown that Moshe gives us every Shabbat is not on our head. It's inside. It's spiritual. It's a spiritual concept. Inside. So listen to what he says. Just like this. You gave him a crown of glory in his head when he stood before you at Mount Sinai. This refers to the crowns of Bnei Israel that were given to Moshe at Mount Sinai, right? We had all the crowns, we gave the crown to Moshe after we did the sin. And are returned to us every Shabbat. We then recite, so remember when I told you to ask Hashem to give us the crown? Remember that? Yismach Moshe b'nat helko. Hashem, give us back the crowns. When does he give it? When you say the words, Kelil tiferet berosho. You say those words, boom, you get the crowns back. You hear, Avi? It's unbelievable.
What takes it away?
When Shabbat is over, it goes away.
Why?
Why it goes away? Because of the Heta Egel.
What happens if I keep that same energy? Like from Shabbat?
I like it.
Don't
He's saying good.
break Shabbat, yeah, just keep Shabbat.
You still have that energy.
We don't break Shabbat, we still keep going on. We have
The whole week we have the crown. It's going to be during time of
Do
Mashiach.
me a favor. Wait for the ending of this year. I will answer that question. How do you keep these crowns longer? Big secret. And how do you receive it earlier? Big secret.
Early you bring in Shabbat early, no? Simple.
We'll see. We'll see. This is free of charge. These secrets are free of charge. This is free. Nothing. You come, you enjoy some good food after.
Even the food is sponsored.
The food is even sponsored. Thanks. Chazdei Hashem, he gives us this Torah. Chazdei Hashem. Mi ka'amcha Yisrael, right? Who's like us? Who's like the Jewish nation? His Torah, so much Torah he gave us. Unbelievable. Wow, beautiful. He just wants us to learn. That's it. That's our job, is to learn. That's it. Everything else will fall into place. Just learn. Don't be worried. Just be happy and learn, pray. That's it. Listen to this. And everything will fall into who needs shidduchim will have shidduchim. Who needs kids will have kids. Who needs parnasah will have parnasah. Who needs to go successful trip to Israel for a year, right? Or Sameach, we'll do it. Who needs, whatever he needs, it will happen. Just learn, just pray, everything will fall. Let's go on. This refers to the crown of Bnei Israel that were given to Moshe at Mount Sinai and are returned to us every Shabbat. We then recite, let's go on. Ushnei luchot avanim horid beyado. Stop. Translation. And the 2 tablets of stone he brought down with his hand. Now notice here, how many body parts we talked about in this part? What was the first one? Birosho. And then now, beyado. Head and hands. Now, take that, what I just told you, the body parts, hand and head, put it to the side, we're going to get back to it. Okay? We're going to get back to it. Thereby connecting when we say those words, we thereby connecting the 2 tablets brought down from Mount Sinai to Shabbat. The connection between Matan Torah and Shabbat is the twofold. First, the Torah was given on Shabbat. And for this reason, Shabbat is a time especially designated for Torah study. But additionally, as discussed on Shabbat, we return to the level we have attained at the time of Matan Torah. Before we committed the sin of the golden calf and fell from the exalted spiritual level. So on Shabbat, you're back to receive your neshama level of Matan Torah. This is certainly a very meaningful idea to consider and contemplate on Shabbat. Especially when we recite these words in our tefillah, we should appreciate this special level that we are privileged to attain on Shabbat and learn from the inspiring example of Moshe Rabbeinu, whose concern was not for his own glory, his own holiness, but rather for the well-being of the Jewish people. This is just one small example of how to understand the meaning of the words of tefillah can significantly enhance our appreciation and experience of the Shabbat prayer. That's one sefer. Now we're going to go and look at another sefer. I want to read to you what Rav Nachman says really quickly. A lot of it what we just said, but just he has a little different approach. Yismach Moshe, where did all the middle blessings of Shemona Esrei go? Don't we need wisdom, forgiveness, health, livelihood, and all the rest on Shabbat? Just as we need them during the week, we do, but our weekday work and prayer are all that's needed and all that's permitted to attain these blessings. Just as the 39 creative labors are forbidden on Shabbat, praying for one's personal needs is also forbidden. Perfecting the world through human endeavors is a weekday concern, whether we bring that perfection closer by work or by prayer. But Shabbat is a day on which we put aside our effort and our egos, surrounding ourselves to the goal of recognizing and soaking in God's greatness. During the week, it's all about us. Give me, like we spoke, right? Give me. On Shabbat, we put that away, and we all recognize Hashem's greatness. There's nowhere in the Amidah that you ask for things. You're just recognizing Hashem's greatness. So the middle blessings weren't there because we don't need them. Our non-doing and non-requesting gives us the vessel we need to perceive Hashem's presence in all that surrounds us. The more we put ourselves in the background, the more God comes and to forgive us. Listen to what he says, unbelievable. The more you take yourself out of the picture, Rav Nachman says, the more you take yourself out of the picture, the more Hashem is present in the picture. The more you rely on something or someone else, you automatically make that person your God. Money, your boss, your rich uncle, your phone, your teacher, your shadchan. The more you rely on something or someone else, the more, the moment you take Hashem out of the picture, that's when He takes Himself out of the picture. The moment you include Hashem in everything, that's when you're able to get it done. So, during the week, you can have a desire while you're praying for your parnasah, for the refuah. You can have a desire to think of, please Hashem, make my boss give me a raise. Make my boss find favor. I should find favor in his eyes. Refuah. Please Hashem, make the doctor prescribe me good medication. Make the surgery that it should go well. What happens during the week? You're taking Hashem out of the picture. There's a potential that happened of you taking Hashem out of the picture, including other sources, other things that are the boss, that are in charge. On Shabbat, it's different. On Shabbat, Hashem says, no, the Amidah is not going to have any of those things. All the Amidah is going to have on Shabbat is a recognition of Hashem. Why? Because that's the main thing. Is to recognize it's Hashem. Your parnasah, your zivug, your success, your refuah is all Hashem. And when you understand that on Shabbat, and Shabbat is the mikor, is the source of all blessing, and when you understand that on Shabbat, this concept, it spills over throughout the week. Then during the week, you'll be successful in refuah, in parnasah, in hatzlacha, in zivugim, in successful, in good children. But it's planted where? On Shabbat. You plant this concept on Shabbat. Why? Because there's nothing else. Just Hashem. In the Amidah, it's just Hashem, recognizing Hashem's greatness. During the week, there's potential to recognize others, different things. On Shabbat, it's just Hashem. That's what Rav Nachman writes. Man's potential to know God is the greatest on Shabbat. This is why Moshe, more than any other human being, personifies Shabbat. He came closer to Hashem and had greater awareness of Him than anyone who ever lived. This awareness was the gift of his portion and the aura of splendor that crowned his head. Rav Nachman portrays Moshe as the teacher of the generation, the tzaddik of every generation. In each generation, the leading tzaddik is in the aspect of Moshe. He shares his gift and aura with those close to him, most especially through his Shabbat lessons, and so helps each of them find his unique way of God. Good. Okay, that's Rav Nachman's view on it. Very interesting view. Very, very unique view. But listen to this, Rabbi Yitzchak. Listen to this very carefully. So remember I told you this concept of hand and head. Remember the body parts? It says like this. What is the significance of the crown of glory mentioned here? The Abu Darham comments that the word lo, Kelil Tiferet Bereshon Atata lo. What does that mean? Lo to him, right? The word lo to him is superfluous in this phrase. Since Berosho, on his head, already connotes that Hashem gave the crowns to Moshe. Rav Yaakov Enman, however, says that the word lo can be explained as follows. Hashem gave Moshe a crown of glory that was prepared specifically for his head, Berosho. Therefore, does not connote the fact that Hashem placed it on Moshe's head, but rather inscribed the uniqueness of the crown of the word lo in his head. The Anaf Yosef explains the crown of glory is the luster of Hashem's presence, which illuminated Moshe Rabbeinu's face when he descended from Har Sinai with the second Luchot. We mentioned this in the Amidah to speak the phrase of one who was the agent through whom Hashem gave the wonderful present of Shabbat. We can add that the luster that radiated from Moshe's face came to him from the splendor of the Shekhinah. So again, let's go back to the concept of the head and the hand. We can see this tangibly in the following story, related about the Vilna Gaon. One time the Vilna Gaon, he stayed in an inn, in a hotel, where the anti-Semitic innkeeper bursted into his room. He came into the Vilna Gaon's room, ready to inflict bodily harm on him. He wanted to hurt the Vilna Gaon. However, upon gazing at the Vilna Gaon's face, adorned with tefillin, the innkeeper froze and ran out of the room. He saw the Vilna Gaon's face with tefillin on, he froze and he ran out of the room. When the Gaon's shamash, the Vilna Gaon's helper, asked him for the explanation of what had happened, he said that it was a result of which what the Torah says, quotation, and all the nations of the world will see that the name of Hashem is called upon you and fear you, which Chazal says refers to tefillin shebarosh, is the tefillin of the head. When the anti-Semite saw my tefillin, said the Vilna Gaon, he fled in fear, he feared me. The Shamash persisted, but Rebbe, many Jews were attacked in the very inn by that same anti-Semite while they were wearing the tefillin. How come they got attacked and you didn't? The Gaon responded, the Gemara doesn't say tefillin shel harosh, meaning tefillin upon the head, but rather tefillin shebarosh, meaning the tefillin in the head. When the tefillin became an intrinsic part of the person's mind and soul, they have the effect of instilling awe and fear upon the entire world. When you are all about the holiness, the spirituality with inside of you, you don't show it off. It's inside of you. What happens? The people are able to see this holiness, and you have some kind of awe in you. Interestingly, we refer here to Moshe's hand, right? Ushnei luchot avanim harid beyado, and the 2 tablets of stone he brought down in his hand. So again, what's up with the hand? So he says, very nice. We refer here to Moshe's hand. In the singular, how do you take something down? With your hand or your hands? Plural, hands. Why do we refer to Moshe here? Ushnei luchot avanim harid beyado, in his hand, but not beyadayim, in his hands, plural. Rabbeinu Yehuda ben Yakar explained that the letters on the luchot made them buoyant, and as such they were easily carried in one hand. Because the luchot had the letters, they were so light that Moshe Rabbeinu was able to carry it with one hand. That's why it says beyado. He did it with one hand. Some add that when the letters flew off the luchot as a result of the sin of the golden calf, the luchot were very heavy. The letters left, and it was heavy for him to carry. So he couldn't handle them, so he threw them down. The Yavetz points out that both Moshe's head and hand were mentioned in this tefillah to hint to the tefillin, which are not worn on Shabbat because of the oath of Shabbat replacing them. By the way, that's why in this prayer it talks about the 2 body parts of head and hand. Why? Because it connects to tefillin. Can you wear tefillin on Shabbat? No. Why? Because of the Shabbat. Shabbat is one of the oaths, is the sign. So because we mentioned hand in hand, it connects to tefillin. So while we read it, it's like we're wearing it. That's what the Yavet says. That's what he says very nicely. Okay, let's get back to let's get through one of the last things to one of the questions that you guys had. How do you extend? How do you extend this crown? Right, that was the question.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yes.
How do you extend this crown? Okay, So he says like this. You guys ready?
It's a kavanah.
Let's see. I don't want to upset you.
There's no answer.
There is.
But it's not what we're.
No, it is. It's a very amazing answer.
So what? I really get upset.
But I really want to save it for next week. Can we do that? Can we do that?
No problem.
I mean,
Right.
at least for the recording. I'll tell it to you.
Because it's big.
Yeah, it's big.
So save for next week.
I'll save it for next week. After the recording, I'll turn it off. But I'll tell it to you. But just for the sake of the recording, I want to save it for next week. It's a beautiful piece. Once again, what's the question? How can we receive the light earlier, the crown earlier
And after.
and after? Beautiful, right here. The Chidah says it.
He wants to make it a cliffhanger for all those.
The Arizal says it.
Everyone come back.
Everyone come back. Cliffhanger. It's very, very interesting. After the recording, I'll tell you. But Mamash, just to finish off, I want to tell you one little ma'aseh, beautiful midrash. I please say this over to anyone you can. Yeah, man, already we're gonna make this into a. Say this over. It's unbelievable. The midrash says like this. There was one time a husband who loved his wife tremendously. He just got married. And he wanted to do something nice for his wife. So he was thinking, what can I do for my wife? What can I give my wife? So he goes to the jewelry store. And he tells the jeweler, I want to get my wife something. Something big, something amazing, something awesome. What do you have? Give me the best that you have. The best diamond. Then the jeweler says, what if your wife doesn't like diamonds? What if she likes rubies? So the man ponders for a moment. And what if she doesn't like rubies? What if she likes sapphire? And what if she doesn't like sapphire? What if she likes pearls? Or this diamond, or this stone, or that, or this. So the man didn't know what to do. So he asked the jeweler, so what do you advise me? The jeweler said, I have a special ring in the safe. This ring, no one has. Nobody in the world has such a ring, and it's a ring that has all the diamonds, all the rubies, all the stones, all the pearls made into one beautiful ring. So the man said, I'll take it. How much is it? Oh, the price, you're gonna have to take out a mortgage. For my wife, I love her. I'll do it. No problem. She deserves it. I want to make her happy. I want to do this for her. And so the jeweler shows this man such a beautiful ring. The man is astonished. The man is very excited. He buys a beautiful box with a light over there. He wraps it beautifully with beautiful wrapping paper. And he calls his wife, says, I have reservations for tonight. Special romantic restaurant, nice good steak, and I have something to give you. The wife gets ready, they get into the car, they head to the restaurant, they're eating, they're enjoying. And finally the husband says, my wife, you mean so much to me. I want to give you something. And it took me a lot of time to pick out And he takes out this box with the wrapping paper. He puts it in front of her. And he's eager to see her reaction. He's excited to see how she's going to react. And she's over there. She's getting excited herself. She's opening up the paper. She sees the beautiful box. She's about to open it, and he's over there. He's nervous. What is she going to think? It costs so much. I worked so hard. I looked at different places. What's going to be a reaction? And she opens up the box, and she sees this magnificent ring. And he's waiting for her to say something. And she says, "This is what you wanted to give me? This is what you got me?" He says, "Yeah, this is it." She says, "It's disgusting. I hate it. I don't like it. Ew." She takes the ring. She throws it to the ground. She steps on it. She spits on it, excuse me for such language. She kicks it to the side. And you can only imagine how this guy feels. You could only imagine how this man feels. Heartbroken. Hurt. Disappointed. He gets on his knees, starts picking up the diamonds, the jewels, the sapphire, the rubies, and the rest that was scattered around the floor. The Midrash tells us, Rabotai, Hashem is telling the angels, "My dear angels, I'm about to marry the Jewish nation. I'm about to marry Am Yisrael." When you get married, you exchange gifts. And Hashem tells the angels, "I want to give a gift to the Jewish nation. I don't know what to give him. I don't know what to do. I'm about to marry them. I want to give them the most precious gift. One that I didn't give anyone. One that no one has." And Hashem goes into his treasure, his hidden treasure, this special gift that he gave no one, that he waited thousands of years to give. And what was the gift? The gift was called Shabbat. And the angel said, "Hashem, you can't give this gift. No, Shabbat has to stay in Shamayim." Hashem said, "No, it has to go to the Jewish nation. It's a special gift. It's in my special treasure." And the angel said, "But Hashem, what if they don't appreciate this gift? What if they don't keep this gift? What's going to happen?" And Rabotai, every time we belittle Shabbat, every time we don't give proper honor Shabbat, proper kavod to Shabbat, every time we don't keep Shabbat, every time we feel Shabbat is a burden for us, when is it going to be over? I can't wait till it's over. Every time we feel that way, you know what happens? Just like the story with the wife. We take this gift, we take the ring, we take Shabbat, and we tell Hashem, we tell our husband, "Ew, this is what you gave me? This is what you got me?" And we throw it on the floor. And how did the husband feel? Broken, hurt. That's how Hashem feels. When Mashiach comes, he's going to ask us why we did certain sins. And guess what? We're going to have a good excuse for every sin. Why did you keep non-kosher? Hashem, I had a ta'ava, I had a desire for this food. What can I do? It's a desire. I can't control it. I couldn't help it. That's how you created me. Mashiach is going to close his eyes. Not really, but Why did you not look at the right places? Why didn't you keep Shmirat Einayim? Hashem, I had a tava, I had a desire. How can't I? Why did you listen to this type of music? Hashem had a desire. And every Avirah is going to go on, and we're always going to answer, I had a desire. When Mashiach when Mashiach was going to ask us, why didn't you keep Shabbat? Why didn't you give proper honor to Shabbat? Why was Shabbat a burden to you? Can we answer, I had a desire? No such thing. It's not possible for a person to have a desire to break Shabbat. It doesn't exist. So what are we going to answer? Mashiach is going to say, it was the ultimate gift that Hashem said, I waited thousands of years to give this gift. That no one has such a gift. It's in a special treasure. And He decided to give it to us. Rabbi Yitzchak, out of the 1,000 people, the millions of people, the billions of people in the world, how many Chinese people are there in the world? A lot. How many Indian people there are in the world? A lot. And count the rest of the people in the world, put them in one scale. It's a big number. Out of them all, Hashem chose you. And you. And you. And you. And He said, Shabbat is for you. The Torah and mitzvot are for you. Out of all the millions and billions, Hashem chose you. Now next time Shabbat comes around, how are you going to feel? How should you feel? Special. How should you react? Special. Because He chose you. He gave it to you. That's His ring. That's His present. That's His way of marrying us. Baruch Adonai L'olam. Amen. Amen.